I've seen you on various things on the television, which is impressive in itself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of glamping business owners who would give their back teeth to be able to have the opportunities that you've had. So we'll dive into that in a little bit about how you managed to open that opportunity up. But I want to get an idea of the timeline of when you opened and how that all started. And I understand you started from, say, a little thing that you just put up and decided to then go through the planning process. Tell me from the beginning, how did it start?
Yeah, so it's something that was all new to me when it started. So back in the first lockdown of 2020, before this, I had a European transport business. So I used to spend a week in France and a week here and come back in two. And I got stuck here in the first lockdown. So when we went into lockdown, I was supposed to be going back 10 days later, and that never happened. So I was stuck at home with the kids, you know, supposed to be homeschooling and everything else, but nothing to do in the daytimes, gorgeous weather outside. And I hate being bored. It's just something I can't do. I have to be doing something. So the first night we camped out, me and the kids camped in the garden, great. Next morning, woke up like you do when it's camping and it's, you know, dewy on the grass and everything else. It's like, oh, it's a bit miserable in the morning. So I thought, right, let's build a deck to camp on for the second day. And then it went from there. And each day, as lockdown went from days to weeks to months, I just kept doing a bit more and a bit more and a bit more just to keep the kids entertained. And by the end of the first lockdown, I'd ended up building this full, well, glamping pod. I didn't realize it was a glamping pod at the time. It was meant to be just a project for me and the kids, somewhere to spend time. We wasn't obviously going to be going away on holiday anywhere. So it was finding things that we could do outside. We all love being outside. So yeah, I built this first pod, and then I'd been updating my own social media. Back then in 2020, social media to me at the time was saying happy birthday to somebody or putting some pictures of the kids on. And I was putting it on my Facebook, and every day people were commenting about what I was doing. And a friend of a friend of a friend worked at Unilad and had seen what I was doing and said, can we do a story on you? So when everybody was building home bars and things like that, Unilad did a story on what a dad had built in lockdown. That was the story of it. So they did that the first day. The second day, they're owned by Lad Bible. Lad Bible took the story and put it on Lad Bible. And from there, it just blew up. You know, that one post had something stupid like 15, 20 million views. It was crazy. And then I had people contacting me saying, can we come and stay? Which was, you know, crazy at the time. I was like, it's in my garden, basically. But, you know, I seen these people contacting me. So I put it on Airbnb. And I thought, you know what? Let's see what happens. And I put it on Airbnb. And within 3 days, it was fully booked for 2 years in advance. Airbnb had took it, because I assume with their algorithm and obviously seeing what had happened before, they took it and put it on their homepage and boosted it to everybody. So it was amazing. And I thought, wow, there's legs in this. So from there, I then decided to go through the planning process. I technically opened in August of 2022, in that weird kind of bit between lockdowns, and did the planning process and gained planning permission on the 4 acres of woodland that I've got here. It was sort of end of February, start of March of 2021. And that's when I then started building the Secret Garden Glamping. So it all started from that one pod with the kids.
There is a lot of investment at the beginnings. It's one of the mistakes people make when they're thinking about setting up a glamping business. They think, oh, that should be cheap. I should be able to set that up quite easily. Bit of canvas, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And that's not the case. It's cheaper than bricks and mortar for sure, but it still needs investment. And that must have been quite scary at a time where your business had stopped and all income had stopped. How did you get yourself over that kind of confidence thing of, yes, this is where I should be spending my money right now?
To be honest, it's always been hard, even at the start. So when we did the first one, and it sold out for 2 years in advance on Airbnb, that was amazing. But as with Airbnb, although we had 2 years worth of bookings, we had zero income from it, because obviously you only get paid out 24 hours after they arrive. So it was great, but I couldn't do anything with that. I had to try and figure out a way to capitalize on you know, the publicity that we'd had, but have zero capital to go forward to build anything. And this is what ties in with now my social media marketing and the way I promote the business, is because I had to, the second one, which was called The Lodge, I had to launch that, even though I hadn't built it, and even though I had nothing to launch with, I had to launch it to be able to take pre-bookings, build up a booking system, take pre-bookings so I could take some deposits in to be able to actually build the product that I was going to then sell. So kind of like crowdfunding, basically. And it was trying to work out whether I could get to the finish line in the first place and see how to be able to do it. Because as with everything, your banks and lending and everything else, nobody wants to help you. At the start, if you've got nothing to go with, nobody, and it absolutely grates on me all the time. It grates on me now even more, because now we're doing great and it's been a success. Everybody wants to jump on board. Everybody wants to help you out. But you do, where are they when it's at the start? It's not there. And it's hard to prioritize where to go, but I had to try and work out which was going to be the best kind of direction. That was a lot harder when we actually got the full planning permission and went into the woodland, because that was literally starting again. That was everything from infrastructure, power, water, waste, septic tanks, footpaths, lighting, everything, where the first ones were relatively easy because they were near the house. All the water, waste, that sort of stuff was all relatively cheap to do because it was all tied into the house. So that wasn't too bad. But as we expanded, it was trying to work out which was the best direction to go. When I came to this, it wasn't about making money. It never was. That's the whole thing, was me being able to spend time outside with the kids. That was the top and bottom. I mean, now it's got to the point where it's a great business and we're doing really well, but that was never the intention in the first place. And it was genuine reasons where, so if you sit down and speak to everybody, like I say, with the neighbours and the council and everything, and get those people on board, it's so much easier to go through the journey with the planning. We still had to go through all the hoops and jumps and everything else that you need to with the, environmental studies and land registry and everything else. But getting them on board and getting on the right side of people at the start to let them know why we were doing it and what we were doing really helped, I think. And the council have been on board with us at the start. When they came down, they assumed, I guess, like most people would, with when you say a glamping site, you think a field with a load of pods on, basically. Where I wanted to incorporate the woodland within every unit. So I didn't want to take out a single tree. I didn't want to, impact the environment at all. I wanted it to be organic and be around. And that was challenging at first. And we got the council to come down because they just wanted to know exactly where it was going to be, how big it was going to be, what direction it was going to face. Where actually it was, well, we want to put it around here, but there's some trees here. So if that's in the way, we want to move it this way, or we want to incorporate that into the design, but we can't tell you exactly until we've done it. So when we went through the planning, again, everybody was really great. And it was a long process, I guess, looking back now, or longer than it should have been. But by the end, we ended up with the full planning permission that we needed. Everybody was on board with it. And, we've been able to move forward with the business now.
So you've gone from one tent in the back garden to now how many units?
So with this new set of planning permission now, it's 13. So we've currently we've got 8 that are built and open and have guests in. And then we've got 5 more that are now under construction. So we've got the newest one, which we launched last Friday, called the Oasis. That's opening in 7 weeks' time. And then we've got a further 3 to open this year and another one for next year then.
So how are you going about you talk about social media. Social media has been one of the things that's really catapulted you into various opportunities that were unexpected. How have you managed that as your business is growing? How have you gone through those steps of, do you have someone who does your social media for you? Is it still very much you?
So again, I kind of mentioned it at the start. The start for me as a business, social media was nothing. It didn't really mean anything to me. I didn't know much about it. I didn't know about algorithms. I didn't have an Instagram account or TikTok account. I had Facebook, and that was it. But one thing that I like doing is I like learning. Anything that engages me or anything I get excited about, I want to know everything about. And it's like a game. And social media, although I don't like social media personally to use, it's not. Because now I know the darker side of the background of how it works. I don't like the principle of it. I know I need it as my main driver for the business. So it was learning. I'd spend from 10 p.m. at night till 2-3 in the morning watching different videos, searching the internet, trying to find different things, and then testing different things with my own social media and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work. And then when something does work, okay, why did that work? Why was that better? Was it the images? Was it the videos? Was it the text? And working all these little things out to the point now where we can, command hundreds of thousands of views per post, with on a daily post, and millions when we do something big. So yeah, it was a steep learning curve, and it was trying to figure it out. And at the start, up until 6 months ago now, the whole social media has been just me on my own, because I have a strict vision of how I want it to be and how I want it to look, because it does come down to little tiny details that really make the difference between a post that was good and a post that was viral. It's not, everybody's 90% there. It's that last 10% that really, really makes the difference. And that's where I've always altered stuff. But now I've got Chelsea, my partner. She started doing the TikTok for us, and then Instagram stories, and she now runs all the social media side of the business now. Although I still sit and go through the posts and kind of have my input on which direction I want to go with different things and scheduling, that sort of stuff. But again, as we've got bigger now, I've had to delegate different things out, because there's no way I can do everything on my own anymore.
So is that for you now? Is it a team of two, or do you have other people helping you with the build? How does it all work now?
So now we've just taken on a new member of staff. She starts today, actually. So we're now up to 14. So we've got myself, obviously, who's running a business. I've got Chelsea, who does all the social media. I've got Gemma, who's our site manager. She then has 8 cleaners underneath her. I have my mum working in the business. She she does what she wants. She wanders in and out and comes and does things. We then have Reedy, a good friend of mine who we took on about a month ago now. So he's now customer relations, but also along with my side doing the building. We have a full-time groundskeeper, Paul. He's great. He does all the maintenance and that sort of stuff as well. So yeah, it's really, building more and more as we go along now.
So it's quite interesting. A lot of people that I work with and that I communicate with in my various networks, that they often talk about, I'd love to grow. I'd love to grow my business. I'd love to get bigger, but I just can't cope with it, with the time, the management, the things that I'm doing. What do you think comes first? Employing the staff to relieve you of those things, but obviously that means it's an investment, a financial investment, or is it really to push yourself for a while until you've grown enough that you can actually pay for the staff? Is it better to go first before you've got to the point of breaking point, or in your opinion, how has that worked for you?
So do you want that was one of the hardest steps that I've done in this entire business, is letting go of parts of it. But then also, like you said, it's finding the right time to do it. So for me, it's neither of those two. It's literally bang in the middle. So the hardest part for me was when I took on Paul. Now Paul, as a full-time groundskeeper and maintenance and stuff, I knew it was going to be expensive for the business. And I couldn't really afford it, is the honest answer. So when I took him on, I couldn't really afford it, but I knew if I did take him on, then over the next 6 months is probably when I was going to need somebody. So before I got to the point of needing somebody, I took him on and took the hit then, and it worked. I couldn't believe how much it worked out, because what I didn't take into account was I just saw the physical things that needed doing each day, whether it be the changeover, the washing, the toilet seat that needs fixing, the light bulbs that need changing. They're all physical things that need doing each day, but I didn't take into account the time it'd free up for myself to be able to push the business forward. And each time I've taken on a member of staff, especially in a more prominent position like Chelsea with the social media or Gemma with the site management, I've been able to step away a little bit from the business and go, and do, like they say, bigger picture things. So I'm thinking on a daily basis now, instead of, I need to go and get that toilet seat from B&Q, or I need to repaint one of the walls. I'm thinking, right, what contacts can we make today? What units can we build next? Where can we advertise next? What can we do on social media better? So my mind, all the cloud was like lifted, all the fog had gone, and I could see different things in the business. And then as I push the business forward a bit more, I always take the hit before I need to.
That's the whole thing of freeing up the captain to be the proper captain of the ship and to know which direction you're going in, where are you steering towards, and also where the money is, because you got to be thinking of the money, haven't you? You've got to be generating the money, and that's ultimately your decision. How am I going to get this business generating more revenue?
That's the thing. So I kind of seen it quite early on that a lot of pitfalls, especially within glamping, is people get stuck within the businesses. I could have quite easily been stuck doing changeovers every single day and fixing bits on the site, and it'd take up my whole day easily without trying, let alone trying to do social media, trying to do marketing, doing different TV shows, or promoting the business in different directions, whatever it might be. I could see that really early on, and now that I've stepped away, and the more, as I said, the more I step away, you do focus on what you should be doing within the business, and that's what then makes us drive it further forward.
How have you been most successful at attracting guests? Is it through your social media? Is it through a particular booking platform you've used? Is it through your TV appearances? What's the thing that really kick-started it and started to the momentum?
Yeah, the absolute number one is social media by a country mile. That's where 99% of our audience has come from. Although from that we've done other things like different TV shows and stuff like that. It has all been from the social media following, and building that up has been my main focus at the start, as well as going forward now as we're growing, and the social media audience grows, and as that grows, more people see us. So I thought, again, when we started the business, I thought, looking back now, but building one unit and getting bookings for that was relatively easy at the time when I look back now, but doing it to get 8 units fully booked, or 13 units fully booked, or 20 units as we go forward fully booked, we have to keep growing the audience to make sure that we can, fill that space. But social media has been by a country mile the biggest driver that we've had, and absolutely the main thing that we'll focus on going forward. The community as a whole is an amazing community within glamping, and I love being part of it. I love helping out with it, and anything I can do, because I've made so many mistakes over the past 2.5 years, and cost myself literally hundreds of thousands of pounds in mistakes that I've made along my journey of learning. But if you don't have to make them, I'm happy to let them know how to not do that and how to avoid doing that. So yeah, if anybody ever wants to have a chat, just give me a bell.
Oh, it's been really inspirational chatting to you, and I hope very much that your new expansion plans go really, really well. And if you have any stories whatsoever you want to share again, do make sure you come back to me, especially the funny ones.
Really enjoyed it. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's been great. So yeah, I'd love to do this more. Anything you ever need, I'm always here.
Great, thank you so much. Well, lovely to speak to you, and see you soon.
Very welcome. Take care.